Hello everyone. England is famous for many things, such as the Big Ben clock tower, double-decker buses, fish and chips, rainy weather, and red telephone booths. Known for figures like William the Conqueror, England also has a long and renowned history. England is closely associated with the royal family and Windsor Castle, the oldest continuously inhabited royal residence in the world. Please note that this is a discussion about England, not the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. To emphasize again, we are talking about England. England is a country within the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It shares land borders with Scotland to the north and Wales to the west, with the Irish Sea to the northwest and the Celtic Sea to the southwest. England is separated from mainland Europe by the English Channel. England is the largest country within the United Kingdom. However, people often confuse the terms England and United Kingdom. This misunderstanding not only causes confusion, but also creates difficulties for people from other parts of the UK. Although England occupies a large portion of the United Kingdom's land area, referring to the UK as England is an inaccurate concept. That is completely wrong. In terms of population, nearly 84% of the population of the United Kingdom lives in England, mainly in cities and urban areas. The total area of England is 130,279 square kilometers, which is more than one-third of the area of our country. England is 74 times smaller than the United States and 59 times smaller than Australia. However, we also understand the history of England and how the history of the United Kingdom has influenced Australia and the United States. That was the golden era of England as well as the United Kingdom. Most of the land in England is flat, especially in the southern region. There are some mountains in the north, but all of them have an elevation of less than 1,000 meters. The highest point in England is also below 1,000 meters, standing at just 978 meters above sea level, and it is located in a national park. England is truly an island nation, and no matter where you go or where you stand, the farthest distance you will ever be from the sea is only 115 kilometers. For this reason, the English are skilled seafarers. The history of England is also closely tied to maritime affairs. The British Navy has been extremely powerful, and thanks to this, they have conquered much of the world. According to the latest survey conducted in 2021, the population of England alone is 56.489 million people. This number accounts for more than half of our country's population and is the highest population ever recorded in history. In the first census conducted in England at the beginning of the 19th century, specifically in 1801, there were only 10.5 million people. Currently, women make up 51% of the population in England, while men account for the remaining 49%. Have you ever wondered why we call this country An instead of Chi, Em, or another name? Is it because they like to be the big brother to everyone? In reality, the Vietnamese name for England originates from Chinese. Currently, the Chinese refer to this country as Yinggelan, which is the name of the nation, while Yingguo, is a term for the entire United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. In Vietnamese, we simplify this by dropping quoc and cash from the name, leaving only an. Regarding the weather and climate, England has a temperate oceanic climate. Temperatures rarely drop below 0 degrees Celsius in winter and seldom exceed 32 degrees Celsius in summer. However, in recent years, there have been some relatively extreme weather phenomena in both winter and summer. The weather is very humid, and it rains frequently. The English often complain about the weather, and foreigners also tend to find it dull and gloomy. When enduring the rains in England, One of the most frequently cited facts about the country is that, on average, there are 133 rainy days per year. The record was set in the year 2000, when England experienced a total of 178.5 rainy days. This means that, on average, for every 2 sunny or cloudy days, there is 1 rainy day. Speaking of England, one must mention London. London is not only the capital, but also the largest city in both England and the entire United Kingdom. London was founded by the Romans approximately 2,500 years ago, with its first name being Londinium. Throughout history, the city has been known by various names, such as Ludenwick or Ludenburg. Apart from London, England is also home to many other major cities, such as Birmingham, Sheffield, Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, Newcastle, Bradford, and Nottingham. Many of these cities have football teams that have competed and are still competing in the English Premier League. These football clubs have established their reputation and image both nationally and internationally. In England, the official language is, of course, English. However, English is not only the main language spoken in England, but also a global language. The oldest form of English is known as Old English, or Anglo-Saxon. Today, more than 1 billion people worldwide speak English. Perhaps the biggest export of England is the English language, which became widespread due to the influence of the British Empire and the global influence of the United States, an English-speaking country. England had many colonies in the past, and as these colonies gained independence, they developed their own ways of speaking and writing English. Today, English is present in North America, India, parts of Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and many other regions. It is also the official language of various global organizations. The world-famous playwright William Shakespeare played a major role in shaping the English language. He introduced around 3,000 words into English and helped shape it into the modern language we know today. An interesting fact is that in England itself, French was once the official language. This may surprise some people, but it was the result of the Norman conquest of England in the 11th century by a nobleman from Normandy, France. At that time, the official language of England was changed to French for about 300 years. For many centuries, English kings spoke very little English and spent most of their time living in France. The symbol of England is the lion. In fact, not just one lion, but 3. These 3 lions appear on many English emblems, including military shields and flags from centuries ago, as well as on the jerseys of the English national football team, famously called the 3 Lions. The lion became a symbol of England during the reign of King Richard I in the 12th century. It was originally a royal emblem because Richard I was known as Richard the Lionheart, a king famed for his bravery and exceptional military leadership. The English people have long been known for their talent and innovation. England was the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution and many world-changing inventions. The steam engine was developed during the Industrial Revolution by an Englishman. The father of the railway built the world's first public railway, the Liverpool and Manchester Railway, in the early 19th century. Other English inventions and discoveries include the jet engine, the spinning frame for industrial textile production, the World Wide Web, and HTML, and even the first successful blood transfusion. The hovercraft was also an English invention. The electric motor and the steam engine were both created by English inventors. And of course, for such brilliant minds to thrive, England is home to some of the world's best universities, such as Oxford and Cambridge. Many famous politicians, scientists, and artists have graduated from these institutions. Additionally, England has produced globally renowned figures that are familiar to many from textbooks, such as Isaac Newton, whose work in physics and mathematics is widely studied, and Charles Darwin, the geologist and biologist famous for his contributions to the theory of evolution. And finally, last but not least, Stephen Hawking, one of the greatest scientists of the 20th century, was also an Englishman. When it comes to sports, England knows how to make its mark. Perhaps the most famous sport in England today is football, with the English Premier League being dubbed the most exciting football league on the planet. Although the England national team has not won the World Cup for a long time, they once stood at the pinnacle of world football. The English have contributed significantly to sports, particularly in codifying rules and regulations for various sports played worldwide. Many modern sports originated in England, including football, cricket, rugby, tennis, boxing, badminton, ice hockey, snooker, darts, table tennis, bowling, netball, and greyhound racing. The English also played a major role in developing rowing, sailing, and Formula One. If you follow sports closely, you will notice that most of the rules for these sports were created by the English, who have also promoted them globally due to their historical influence. Many people jokingly say that the English were able to make such inventions and discoveries because they consume a lot of tea. Of course, this is just a joke. Tea is extremely popular in England and is the most commonly consumed beverage. It is estimated that 165 million cups of tea are drunk in England every day, more than in any other country on the planet. The tea consumption rate in England is about 20 times higher than that in the United States. On average, each person in England consumes around 1.9 kilograms of tea per year. Tea became a popular drink in England in the 18th century and has since become a cultural tradition. Compared to many other countries, tea was introduced to England relatively late, but it has had an extremely deep and lasting influence. England is famous for many things, and listing them all would be impossible in just one video. However, here are some notable examples. England is home to one of the oldest and most mysterious man-made structures on Earth, Stonehenge. According to scientists, Stonehenge began construction in the 19th century BCE and was completed a few hundred years later. At quarries, large stone blocks were carved out, then rolled or transported by river to construction sites. There, the stones were buried about a meter into the ground. The monument consists of two types of stones: large, hard stones forming the outer circle, and softer stones, taken from distant quarries, forming the inner structure. These inner stones are known as bluestones. The next highlight in England is the clock tower in London, which we commonly call Big Ben. In fact, we are calling this clock tower by the wrong name. The official name of this clock tower is the Elizabeth Tower, and it has had this official name since 2012 to commemorate the 60th year of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. However, people still commonly refer to it as Big Ben, because Big Ben is actually the name of the heaviest bell inside the tower, weighing 13.5 tons. There are 5 bells inside the tower. Has this tower ever run incorrectly? In history, it has run incorrectly several times, and on a few occasions for very interesting reasons. For example, in 1945, the clock was not affected by war, but rather by a flock of birds. That year, a flock of birds landed on the minute hand of the clock when it was pointing at the number 9. The birds were so heavy that they caused the clock to turn backward by nearly 5 minutes. Another particularly interesting case occurred on New Year's Eve in 1962 when the clock's hands froze due to the extreme cold. Since the clock is very heavy, it slowed down, and the New Year's chime rang almost 10 minutes late. England is very proud of its underground train system in London. This system is commonly called the Underground, meaning under the ground. However, in reality, less than half, only about 45%, of this system is actually underground. The rest is still above ground. Londoners have different names for it. but the most common and widely used name is the Underground. The first line of this underground train system was only 6 kilometers long. Over the years, with steady progress and many changes, the system has expanded to a total of 408 kilometers, connecting 11 lines and passing through a total of 270 stations. This underground train system dates back a long time, as it was first established in 1863. In 1863, the British had an underground train system that initially ran on steam. How advanced were they? Then, on January 9, 1863, thousands of people lined up neatly to buy tickets, but only 25,000 of them were allowed to board the train. Those were the lucky ones who got to ride on the first day. Today, this is one of the busiest and most crowded subway systems in the world, with a total of 296 million passengers transported in 2020. The busiest station is Victoria Station, with 76.5 million passengers per year. This system also has some dark stories surrounding it. It is estimated that about 100 suicides occur each year, with most of them happening at Victoria Station around 11 a.m. The final part will be some random interesting facts about England. England used to have debtors' prisons. This might be something that many of us in life could use. Debtors' prisons were very common in England in the 18th and 19th centuries. They were specifically for people who fell into debt and could not repay their money. It is unknown what the British owed in the past, but England once had many strange and even humorous taxes. For example, King Henry VIII, a famous king with many wives, imposed many strange taxes during his reign in the 16th century. Some of the unusual taxes in English history include the window tax, the salt tax, and the candle tax. However, the beard tax under King Henry VIII might be one of the strangest taxes on the planet. England also participated in the shortest war in history, the war between England and Zanzibar. Zanzibar was an island nation in the Indian Ocean, which is now part of Tanzania, a country in Africa. This war began at 9 a.m. on August 27, 1896, when 5 ships of the Royal Navy attacked the Royal Palace of Zanzibar. The war lasted less than a football match, only about 38 to 45 minutes, until the white flag of surrender was raised. In this short war, 500 Zanzibari soldiers were killed, while only 1 British Marine was injured. If you are looking for adventure and unique experiences in England, you should check out the annual cheese rolling competition. Every year on Cooper's Hill in the southwest of England, there is a bizarre event where a wheel of cheese is rolled down a steep hill, and participants race to catch it. The hill is so steep that most people chasing the cheese end up falling and tumbling. There is no definitive theory on how this tradition started, but it is believed to have been an ancient ritual performed to pray for a good harvest. Today, even international tourists participate in this exciting and adventurous event. And finally, one more fun fact among many interesting facts presented today. Champagne is a type of sparkling wine that many people believe was invented in France. However, that is not the case. Champagne was first discovered in England in the 17th century. Specifically, an English scientist figured out how to make wine bubbly and how to create the popping effect when opening a bottle. The name Champagne that we know today actually comes from a region in France. Thank you for following this story, the story of England. Let me remind you once again, this is about England, not the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. If you find this interesting, you can subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it. And now, it's time to say goodbye.